Hey, Motorman here. If you've never been to this channel before, you just came here by, I don't know, an accident, a strange twist of fate. What we do usually is talk about police motor officer techniques, and I try to help you to become a better rider and to eventually ride like a pro. But today, we're going to talk about kind of a disappointment for me, and that is, you've probably seen it already, the new El Diablo. That's a Harley Davidson lowrider ST in a red color. And yeah, it looks nice, but I'm really disappointed. When I think of an Icon model, I think of this motorcycle. This one that I own. We got two of them. I think, you know, nostalgia, iconic, and maybe the ST is that, or the El Diablo, like they've named it. But, well, I'm going to explain to you why I'm so disappointed and why I think Harley did the wrong thing. They should have called me. They didn't. In fact, they never called me, but they should have called me on this one. So come on, let's take a ride. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with the new El Diablo or Lowrider ST in red. It's a good looking motorcycle. I like the color, custom paint. I was just expecting, well, something more iconic or more nostalgic. Now, I've ridden the ST. In fact, Harley Davidson sent a few of us out there to California, and we took some rides on the bike. In fact, probably rode 250 miles out in California through the canyons on that bike. And of course, I've owned two lowriders, S models, and so I'm very familiar with the motorcycle itself. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great motorcycle. But one of the problems I see is the fact that right now, the regular lowrider ST is in great demand, and I believe every dealership only gets 5 of them. So now they come out with this model that's a limited edition, only 1,500 for the entire world, and I think there's 700 Harley dealers in the country, so each dealer should get one of them. But as everybody probably knows, prices of the standard in black or gray, they're going for, like, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 10,000 and even 12,000 over MSRP. Crystal River Harley Davidson had one in black, and they did add a few extras to it, and it was $12,000 over list price. So what do you think is going to happen with this bike? Well, these are going to be in even more limited numbers. So I'm guessing somewhere around $42,000 to $45,000 is what some dealers will be asking for them. And well, that is going to be a very limited amount of people that are going to purchase that motorcycle, in my opinion. In fact, it's not just my opinion. If they're only going to make 1,500, that is going to be only 1,500 people possibly to get one. Now, the list price is $27,999, plus you got $600 in freight and $750 surcharge. From what I understand, that's because of the freight prices keep going up. So you're talking about $29,349 MSRP, and that's not counting, you know, what the dealer's going to mark them up. And I don't blame them. If people are willing to pay, you know, 30, 40, 50,000, whatever, they'd be crazy to turn that down. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's, you know, supply and demand. That's the way it works. Now, this bike is very reminiscent of the, I think, around 80, 83 FXRT models. But that bike, by the way, was never a big seller for Harley Davidson. It was only later on that people would get hold of them. In fact, a lot of them were police motorcycles, and they would take off the bags. In fact, they would strip them down so that you didn't have the fairing or the bags, etc. But they've become, I guess, a sort of a collector's item. So probably Harley Davidson did the right thing. I can't say for sure, but I was hoping for something more nostalgic. Now, I don't know if you saw my video I did a few months back where I spoke with a guy who retired from the Harley Davidson factory, and he said that he saw in the shop there that they were working on a heritage and doing some things or adding some accessories to the bike to make it look sort of like the Elvis bike from the 1950s. By the way, Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley Davidson over in Daytona, they made that particular model, sold, I don't know, it was a limited number, maybe 200 or 300 of them that looked just like the Elvis's bike. And this guy was saying, well, maybe that's what they were coming out with. He wasn't guaranteeing anything. And he also said they had a Fat Boy that looked a lot like the original Fat Boy in silver. And maybe with, thinking about it, well, the Terminator movie really made the Fat Boy the biggest seller Harley ever had for, quite a couple of 3 years anyway. So I was hoping really that something like that would be coming out, and maybe it is. But, this was just a rumor. Here's a guy who's retired from Harley, worked at the factory. He said he saw this going on, and probably there might have been a dozen things going on, and they eventually end up with, well, what we have here, which is the El Diablo. So I was hoping maybe they would come out with one of those two models. But obviously they didn't, and I'm sure that they're going to sell every single one of them that they could make. In fact, the ST model is so popular, they're selling every one of those. They're usually pre-sold. By the time it gets to the dealership, it's because somebody has ordered it. And unless they cancel the order, you're probably not going to see one of them sitting at a dealership. And it's going to be the same way with the El Diablo. Also, they did add a couple of things to it. You have the sound system, which I think is about $1,200 or $1,200 option, and it comes, of course, already installed. And there's the limited edition badges and the custom paint, which is very nice. It's like a fade or 2 shades of red, very pretty. Is it worth $29,349 plus whatever the dealers are going to add to that? Well, that's really up to you. Obviously, if people buy up every one of them, it's worth it. Anyway, don't forget, get yourself a copy of my Ride Like a Pro experience video. That's mainly what I do, and on this channel I give you all kinds of tips, tricks, and techniques, but that video is very comprehensive. It'll show you the exact order you need to learn the proper techniques so that you too can ride like a pro.